So I'm currently working on the um, Certified Bug Bounty Hunter certification from Hack the Box Academy, and the modules all have challenges at the end, but they also have boxes for Hack the Box for the regular Hack the Box platform to try and test your skills a little further. So I'm going to be doing one of those. It is called Help, and it is an easy box listed as an easy box. I did this a couple nights ago. Um, I tried to keep in mind the things that I had learned in the Hack the Box Academy course and tried to exploit it that way as much as possible. So um, you'll be seeing that. I did, I got most of the scanning, enumeration, whatnot out of the way just to save time on the video. So we have our Nmap scan already done, SSH on port 22, 7.2, OpenSSH, nothing really interesting about that. We're 80, Apache 2.4.18, nothing really interesting that initially. And also nothing really too great about Port 3000 Node.js Express Framework. So when we start to look through the website on Port 80, initially we're going to get a failure to follow a redirect to help.hackthebox or help.htb. We add that to our etc host file and we get a default Apache 2 installation. For 3000, we get something a little bit better. It is letting you know that you can query this some way to get credentials. So I didn't really know what to do with that at first, but if you start researching Node.js Express Framework and querying, most of what comes up is GraphQL. I guess it's a popular query language used with APIs for Node.js. And just looking through this documentation, we can see actually what our queries should look like. I There's probably a way to enumerate like what table you should be looking for, but I was able to kind of just guess honestly, uh, and I got lucky off the bat. So I used so just GraphQL query user and username, and I actually got a user help me at helpme.com. And then, the next logical thing to try would be password. And we get an MD5 hash for that user that we found. So we can go ahead and see if we can crack this. Just use something easy like CrackStation rather than messing around with Hashcat if we don't have to. And we're going to get a password of God help me please. Help me at helpme.com and God help me please. We don't really know where to use those credentials at first, but then if we do a little bit of directory busting, we can see we have support on port 80. So we will go to support. And then once you try those credentials here, you'll discover that they work. Help me at helpme.com and God help me please. Now, looking through here, there's nothing really interesting. You could submit a ticket. The knowledge base doesn't have anything. The news doesn't have anything. So actually Googling Help Desk Z, it is a open source application. There's lots of information about it on GitHub. And then just looking, you know, for exploits, we get a couple hits. Now the arbitrary file upload, I tried that first, and I could not get it to take without actually knowing this version number. Um, there is I could not get that to work. I couldn't get it to take anything but an image. And then, but the authenticated SQL injection, we do have credentials. Um, so I started to look into that, and if we read through that, read through that exact one, We find that, long story short, there is a SQL injection on when you submit a ticket with an image. When you go to retrieve that file, when you're checking your tickets, there's actually a SQL injection there. So um, if we go back to the application to submit a ticket, fill out all the general necessary nonsense, and then upload a test file. We'll just upload a test picture of a samurai and prove we're not a robot. That's an I. Okay, we have a ticket submitted. We go back to our tickets, we see our ticket test. And then right here, this is actually where the SQL injection is present when you go to download this file. So we do have that exploit available, but like I said earlier, I wanted to try and, keep this in line of exploiting it with stuff that they teach in the course. So if we actually go set up a stop and zap, if we go take this request, we're actually going to clear this out. We're going to paste this request into a file. We'll just call it help.rec, like solved it earlier. And then so we can now actually use SQL map on this instead of using the exploit that we found in Searchsploit. It is a Boolean based SQL injection. So if you go ahead and dump the whole thing, it will actually take a very long time, since I already know the database name and the table that I want. I'll just go ahead and dump for the sake of the video from that. Actually, see, I already have it here. So if we wanted to just dump with SQL map from the support database, and staff is the one we end up wanting to use. Let SQL map do our dirty work for us. This might take a minute, even though we run it, it might not still be in the database, but if it does, I'll pause. And we can track it with SQL map also. So we have one user, an admin user. We have a password that SQL map cracked for us. Comes back to welcome one. Now, this is where you think you probably have a win on this box, but not exactly that easy. The welcome one and admin didn't work for SSH. I ended up trying a few things. What ended up working was help at 10.10.10.121 with those admin credentials. So that's why it's important to always try, different usernames like root or admin, or just, little clues that we have of other usernames. In this case, it's the name of the box. So welcome one. We have a low-level shell. We really don't have a lot of privileges. We can't run sudo, but another one of our initial enumeration commands shows that, it's running Linux 4.4.0-16 kernel. If we go ahead and go back to our friend Searchsploit again, get rid of this database information. We can, see what we can find about this. And then So we're looking for 4.4.0-116. This might take a minute because we're probably going to get a lot of results, but actually we can see pretty quickly 4.4.0-16. We have a local privilege escalation exploit. Make sure I select the right one here. C. There's really not much info if you try and read about this, but we can go ahead and take some guesswork, run it. I believe it's dash. To copy it over, yeah, I actually have it already saved here. So we go ahead and copy that into our Hack the Box directory. We can start a Python server. We'll go back over to our SSH. Let's cd to temp, so we know that we can write, execute. I forgot what my key was. I believe port 8000, and that was 44298. All right, so we have our exploit here. We can go ahead and GCC. Luckily, that is on the box. Actually, you know what? I forgot. And then we can go ahead and run exploit. And just like that, spawning a root shell. If you want the flag, it's not root. And we have our root flag right there for the box, if you want the points or whatever. That's it. Hopefully that was a little bit informational, and hopefully I wasn't too boring. Thanks, everyone.